Hello, good morning, dear colleagues, heads of ECAs, honored guests. It is a great privilege to welcome you all to Brasília for this important Brics Plus Heads of ECA meeting. On behalf of ABGF, I would like to express how proud we are to host this event, especially at this moment in our institutional journey. After a period of challenges and restriction, we are honored to mark our return by bringing all of you together here today. The Brics Plus group today represents over 40% of global GDP, a clear demonstration of growing economic relevance of our countries and the importance of our collective voice in global governance. This platform reinforces our commitment on multilateralism, inclusivity, and a more balanced global order. It also reflects the value of South-South cooperation as a means to share experience, build institutional capacity, and advance sustainable development through joint efforts. As export credit agencies, we play a critical role in enabling sustainable economic development by supporting trade and closing financial gaps. This platform is a space of dialogue, mutual learning, and the development of joint initiatives that can help address shared challenges. We are especially pleased to welcome new members and observers who have joined this growing alliance. Some of them could not be with us today, but we hope to count on their active engagement in the near future. Finally, we would like to share our strong belief that this group should also look more closely at the role of ECAs in climate finance. As the world accelerates efforts toward decarbonization and a just energy transition, our institutions are positioned to support this shift by backing low carbon technologies, green exports, and other sustainable projects. In this regard, we acknowledge the announced creation of a green guarantee instrument operated by NDB, aimed at financing ecological transformation projects. As leaders of our ECAs, we must remain attentive to this agenda and take a role in shaping and driving it forward. As we know, our MOU has served as a very useful framework to build mutual understanding and coordinate our efforts over the years. With new members joining our group, and with the growing complexity of global trade and financial markets, it is natural that we take this opportunity to discuss how we can further evolve this MOU and enhance its role as a living document for our cooperation. I would like to take a moment to sincerely thank all ECAs for the valuable engagement in the technical discussions that preceded this meeting. The preparatory exchanges, inputs, and reflections shared over these past weeks were instrumental in shaping today's agenda. We deeply appreciate the time and effort of each institution has dedicated to the process. I would also like to recognize the constructive proposals that were submitted, many of which reflect not only technical depth, but also a genuine commitment in advance of our shared goals. That said, today's sessions provide an important opportunity to explore these ideas and begin identifying common ground for future cooperation. Following this opening session, we will begin the day with a tour de table, during which each delegation will briefly present an overview of their institution, including recent developments, business performance, and strategic priorities. This will allow us to develop a shared understanding of our respective realities and lay the ground for future cooperation. Mid-morning, we will pause for a coffee break. We'll then return to the second part of the tour de table, continuing the presentations for the remaining ECAs. After that, we'll have the opportunity for an official group photo with heads of delegations. After lunch, we'll shift to strategic cooperation section. This will be the moment to reflect collectively on how we can strengthen ties within Brics plus ECAs group. Some proposals already shared included the development of joint webinar initiatives, more structured capacity building activities, and improved continuity between meetings. Following a short afternoon coffee break, we turn to discussions of MOU. You begin to welcome your new members into the MOU framework. Then we invite delegations to reflect on the future evolution of this agreement. Finally, we will close the day with brief closing remarks. So, our spirit today should be one of constructive cooperation and pragmatism, with a clear focus on strengthening this Brics ECA platform as an open and effective space for dialogue and mutual support. I'll look forward to hearing everyone's views on the topics ahead, and I'm confident that we'll reach a balanced and forward-looking consensus on the next steps of the group. So before we move to the top section, I would like to take a moment to thank two key partners for their support on the organization of this meeting today. First, I'm pleased to invite Constanza Negri, Trade and International Integration Manager of the National Confederation of Industry of Brazil. Constanza has offered us the opportunity to be here today in this excellent venue and has a strong leadership in the CNE effort.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to host you here. It's been a very intensive week in terms of Brics agenda. I just came back from Rio, and I was sharing with the colleagues how successful our events from the private sector perspective and from government perspective were. So I will try to be brief. Of course, I want to thank of our partnership ABGF. I will not use to say the name in English because we use the words in Portuguese, and to our colleagues from the Foreign Trade Chamber, from the government, and probably just to explain you why this agenda is so important, I would divide my comments in twofold. We represent the Brazilian industry. So one of our main aims, and we sleep every day thinking how we can improve competitiveness for industry within Brazil. And part of that agenda, it's linked on how do we make sure that industry takes a bigger participation in terms of GDP. This has happened, a decrease of industry participation in every country. There's a worldwide tendency, but in Brazil, probably if you haven't heard, this has been a more intense decrease of relevance within industry. And this is not just for the sake of participation of GDP. It's because when we speak about industry, we are speaking about creating more jobs, quality for jobs, and helping for the economy to be in a better position. In Brazil, this is one of our main agendas with the Brazilian government currently. So when you see these main objectives, the role of our ECAs here in Brazil is crucial. It's from the finance point of view, from warranties, because we know how difficult it is for industry to export without these instruments. So we've been putting a lot of efforts to improve, and I need to recognize the extreme leadership of our colleagues from the Brazilian government, ABGF, to improve the governance of our systems. And we are seeing a lot of good results in terms of that improvement. So just is that to share with you how relevant it is from a national perspective, the work of ECAs, and even more, how much more relevant it is when our ECAs work hand in hand with ECAs from other countries. And when we go to the other second area that I wanted to share with you that is more linked to the Brics agenda, we as CNI, we are coordinating, we are the secretariat of two main private sector mechanisms that were created within the Brics, that is the Brics Business Council and the Women Business Alliance. Those are the two groups that are gathering private sector from Brics countries. So when we speak about those groups, it's more than 1,000 representatives from all your countries that are here, and of course then we can share more details. And what I wanted to share with you is that I do see a lot of room for better cooperation within our private sector agenda, within these two councils, and what you're doing. And what I'm saying is, because one of the challenges that we are currently facing when we see this new composition of Brics is that at a certain point, as it happens for government, it also happens for us in the private sector, you need to sort of find what is the new DNA of this group. So what are the main points or agenda that we have in common? And I can tell you, one of the main legacies that we have from the Brazilian presidency is linked to finance. And one of our main groups within those mechanisms was in the past was discussing a lot of instruments related to financial integration, which of course it's important, but in terms of private sector, that agenda, it won't deliver results in the midterm. And we do have a lot of differences in terms from our countries. So one of our main priorities and guiding claims within the Brazilian presidency in terms of Brics was to put focus on the finance, energy transition finance, climate finance agenda. And we managed. So then I'm going to ask Mayra to share with you the policy recommendations that we handed it to the head of states on the 6th afternoon. And part of those policy recommendations, they bring this sort of new, it's not new, but for this Brics private sector group, it's new agenda in terms of looking for energy transition finance, climate finance, and inclusion. Those topics, they were not they were not participating, and they were not priorities within our groups within the Brics private sector. So I wanted to bring this message that I see a lot of room for cooperation in the incoming cycles, and I'm sure that what you will be discussing here is relevant not only for our domestic in terms of industrial and Brazil perspective, but also it's a way of bringing more concrete contributions to the economic agenda within Brics. And this is our main priorities when we look Brics from the private sector. So I hope you have a very good meeting, and I'm happy to see you all here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Constanza. It's good to hear from Brazilian private sector and Brics private sector. We'll share the recommendations to the group. And thank you for your support for the ECAs ecosystem. We really appreciate it. So next, I would like to invite Mr. Rodrigo Zerboni. He's the Secretary Executive of Foreign Trade Chamber Comex of Brazilian Ministry of Development, Trade and Industry, which work with ABGF, providing the guidelines for our export credit insurance. Please, Rodrigo, feel free.
Thanks, Mayra. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today. Since 2014, we've been working very hard to make this Brics ECAs heads meeting a very productive event, that kind of event that leads to a real engagement and real work, and helps us to work more together. We know the global geopolitical environment has become more challenged. It creates a lot of risk of decline in international trade. As lenders and insurers become more cautious and less willing to take on risk, this uncertainty can slow down trade and hurt global economy. We know that. At a time like this, ECAs become even more important. They help keep trade flowing by offering insurance solutions when private actors pull back. Because of that, the Brazilian government has been taking steps to strengthen its official sport credit insurance program. We've modernized the governance of SCE, our sport credit insurance program, giving ABGF greater autonomy, even though in the end it is still the Brazilian state that stands behind the coverage. At the same time, ABGF has expanded and trained its staff, which allows the company to review operations more quickly and it develop new types of coverage. As a result, the program has become more agile and flexible, while remaining attractive to private actors. However, we know that improving our own ECA is not enough. We need to deepen our cooperation with other ECAs, especially through risk-sharing mechanisms. Building value chains among developing countries will only be possible if we also build shared solutions. That's why today's event is so important. It gives us the chance to better understand each other's work and to discuss concrete ways to engage in higher level cooperation. I wish all ECA heads and their teams a very productive meeting. I hope also, of course, that you enjoy Brazil, you enjoy Brasília, and most of all, enjoy very much this kind of event that's very important for us. We will be signing tomorrow an agreement with the Etihad, and we expect that we can also be partners of all of you, members of other ECAs that are present here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rodrigo, for your leadership support of ABGF and the guidelines provided to the CISA. Thank you very much. So now we close the opening remarks and begin the tour de table. So if you could please pass to the other slide. So ABGF will be the first one presenting, and then we are going to give the opportunity to the other